Today on the show, we have our very first dual interview, Asako Saz and Paul Evangelista of Critical Buildz. Critical Buildz is an endeavor started by two college homies with the simple goal of creating, selling, and helping others make cool things with the main focus on 3D models and printing. Asako Saz is a lifelong designer who makes other people's dreams a reality. From game controllers to footwear, graphics, and design patents, now she is putting herself out there rather than hiding behind corporate walls. Paul Evangelista is compadre, ride or die art homie, is joining Asako to make fun stuff that isn't yet out there. With 20 years of artistic experience in various fields of animation, video games, and fabrication, he has worked on strange and moving projects ranging from the worst to things that have actually won awards. Please join me in welcoming Asako and Paul to the show. Welcome to another episode of Origins. We are delighted to have you for our first double interview. Hello, Asako and Paul.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Please tell us, where did your creative journey begin? What is your origin story?
Well, all in all, if I were to really start from the beginning, ever since I actually was like a tiny little kid, I've always taken art classes. It's always kind of been in my life to constantly do it. And I, interestingly enough, thought I was going to be a veterinarian until my senior year of high school. And then I realized, hold on, I spend most of my time, any free time I have, doing art. And I actually really enjoyed it. So I did this really weird pivot during my senior year and ended up going to an art school, which interestingly enough is where I met Paul. So we've known each other since freshman college. So
25 years this year.
Is it? Oh my God.
We're not old. We're not old. We're not old.
So it's been a really long journey, but I did study toy design at Otis. Interestingly enough, from there, I did video game controllers for a couple of years. Most notably Street Fighter Anniversary Edition controller. And there's one thing that Paul always likes me to say is the Resident Evil chainsaw controller. Yes, so I'm not sure if that was a good thing. After toys, I went into footwear, which is like another weird pivot, but I think it's just one of those wherever design has been kind of taking me. But then after about a good 10 years in footwear, I kind of came to a realization I really still like toys. I genuinely like building things with my hands, and especially with 3D design, rapid prototyping with resin and filament, it just opened up a whole new world where I was like, hey, you know what? I can actually kind of get back to what I really want to do. So that's kind of the rough story just to kind of get us going. I'm not sure if Paul wants to just kind of step in a little bit too to tell his side of the story a bit.
So we met in college. I have a degree as well from Otis, but for animation. I've spent the last decade on stop motion animation, Robot Chicken. That's the one that anyone would know. The other ones would be like children's shows, a show called Tumbleleaf on Amazon Prime. I was a post VFX artist. Before that, I've also done 3D modeling and 3D animation cleanup. I was on what is considered the worst animated feature ever made. I am very proud of that, I will have you know. It's called Food Fight. It has been very, very muchly reviewed by many, many YouTubers because it is considered, again, the worst CG movie ever made. Very proud of that, not gonna lie. But yeah, I've also spent a good 8 years of my career censoring anime. That one normally pops people's brains, and I'm all like, no, not the hentai kind, the regular American kind, so that middle America could watch anime on Cartoon Network, so that people aren't like, oh my God, all these people are getting stabbed and bleeding, and that guy's smoking a cigarette. Instead, I made the cigarette a lollipop kind of thing. Yeah, I was that guy. I got paid to do that.
Wait a minute, Paul.
Come
You're the
at
guy
me.
who ruined Dragon Ball for me.
I was too young for that.
Oh, okay,
because
good.
if we're talking when Goku had underwear when he's kicking the fish,
Yes, the underwear on the head and kicking the fish. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
was too young.
Okay, good.
I started doing that in 2008. So the shows I was on were One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Glitter Force, Digimon. There was just a lot. Let me just leave it alone at that. But yeah, there was a lot of anime that I've had to censor for standards and practices for American audiences. So, but yeah, I had that really weird gig for a very long time. So just wanted to share that. And then I also wanted to do toys. I got scared of doing toys because I'm not good at math, even though I'm Asian. 3D modeling, I could at least print out toys. Me and Asako have been friends, again, 25 years. And so we were all like, we should probably do things. Very simply put, it's like, we should probably do a thing. Yeah, we should. And here we are.
I love this. And I'm just jumping in, Chris,
Go,
because
go, baby.
as soon as you mentioned the lollipop replacement for the cigarette, I was like, oh, I know what show this is. And I'm a very big One Piece fan, which is totally not the point. However, I do want to maybe kind of steer the conversation towards what the two of you are doing now. So tell us about this collaboration, and I'd love to hear also about how the two of you work together, because I think for a lot of creatives, making anything, let alone working on a project together with multiple people, is something that they're not always great at or don't always think about. And so I'd love to just kind of hear about how the two of you work.
I'll go for it. All in all, like I think ever since we graduated, we've always been kind of dabbling at things that were like, hey, maybe we want to try a comic. Do we want to do video games? We've always been the two where we have more ideas than I think we can actually handle. And we've been like just trying things, trying things, trying things. And I think finally, like with this 3D thing, it kind of stuck with us. And I would probably say I'm the more controlled person, which is what kind of makes this situation work.
I'm
Has
the
a lot,
ideas.
yeah, he has a lot of ideas. I like to kind of rein him in. Same deal with me too, where sometimes I'll take an idea and I'll kind of run too far with it. So we kind of balance each other out where I guess we're trying to just kind of like pulling each other back in, trying to keep things reality. And of course, being friends, there's definitely always that issue of, oh, we're friends, so we can kind of leave it on the side a bit, which is probably one of our biggest struggles that we genuinely have working together as friends. I mean, I'm not sure if Paul agrees with that idea, but that's how I feel personally.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I have a trillion different bizarro ideas of just weird stuff that I just want to make. And she is the technical artist that actually makes it happen versus, so I just made this thing. Yeah, there we go. And I just leave it alone at, I've made a thing. Look at this thing that I've made. It's neat. And there is no purpose to it until she gets a hold of it, cleans it up, and then is able to make something out of the chaos of my models. Example being one of the things at our booth was a large, I'd say what, 3 foot or 3.5 foot blazing sword from Voltron, Go Lion.
Yeah, about
Uh,
3 feet. Yeah.
so I made that. I made the model for it, and then Asako made sure that we could actually print it and not have all the mesh just f up and be terrible and have terrible polys sticking out when we're printing out and have just the spaghetti that happens with FDM printing or other things of that nature. So she's the person that actually makes sure that it actually works versus I made a thing. I'm really cool. I'm smart. So, that's all I mean.
I mean, all in all, I guess I take most of what I learned during toy of like how things can actually work, how things can actually be produced, and I'll try to apply all of that. And I mean, genuinely, Critical Buildz is what our company is called, is just came out of the desire to just make cool things because it's possible now. There's no limitation. There's a ton of people out there who also understand or is starting 3D printing. So it's just not like limited to what's out there that's mass produced, as well as the idea that just in general, when we were kids, we missed out on a lot of cool toys that are out now. And we would just love to see some of that stuff come back as how we dreamed it as. That's a huge part of everything that we do.
Oh, definitely. I mean, ultimately, most of my ideas just come from things I want made. I recently had the idea that, and I can't copyright any of this, but I'd really like a Mr. Rourke head for my action figures so I could have Fantasy Island happening with my G.I. Joes and be all like, Duke, welcome to Fantasy Island. This is a genuine thought I had. I'm all like, no, man, we need Ricardo Montalban as an action figure and not as Khan. but as Mr. Rourke. Tell me I'm wrong, people. Tell me I'm wrong.
As long as you have a tattoo with him, I'll go along with this.
Oh, I already figured out how I'd build tattoo as well. Make no mistake. These are things I'm out to do. I'm not lying. I'm all like, no, I need these things. So
That's the more reality versus the Mr. I like to go all over the place combo
Just-
here.
she'll help me make that happen. And people are willing to buy weird rando heads for action figures. I mean, my cousin got me into doing like mods for action figures. And that's where a part of this is. Like, there's a huge sub market for Marvel Legends. And there was, I think about maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago at Designer Con, one of the modelers, he made an extra set of heads for Beast, X-Men's Beast. And I picked it up and I was all like, we could do these things. We could totally do these things. And again, this is part of where I approach Asako, and we should do stuff. We're slaves to the corporate masters that we've had all of our life.
You guys talk to me in so many ways. I love it. You guys remind me of a lot of Walt and Roy Disney. And if you know any of the history of Walt and Roy, like Roy doesn't get enough credit for anything because it's always, Walt's signature, which by the way, anyone listening to podcasts, that's not his real signature. An animator did it for you. You couldn't get a signature from Walt. Like Walt was the big idea guy, but Roy made it happen. Like he needed needs Asako to Roy to do stuff, right?
That odd combo, I think,
But it works. You look at the great. I can go to Tex Avery. I can go tons of these things because I'm kind of a history buff. But if you look at all these people, we'll use Tex Avery for this example. If you don't know, let me context. Tex Avery is the guy who created Bugs Bunny. He is the guy who everybody goes, Chuck Jones, screw Chuck Jones, masterpiece. Don't get me wrong. But it was all started with Tex Avery, who was a mad freaking nut, and he had to be controlled. Paul's nodding as I tell this story, right?
I too know my animation history. I have to take animation history.
Yes, you kind of have to when you play with animation. So I'm interested in how you guys work together in the fact of, Paul, you're Tex Avery, you get this crazy idea, and how does Asako go, no, but this?
It's a give and take. A lot of it's a give and take for where her technical skill meets a lot of like just my weird personal experience of being a toy guy, animation dude in the field, where I'm all like, oh, this is really cool. This is really popular right now. And again, being under a corporate master most of my career, or all of my career, including now, it's the thing of having somebody else help me figure these things out. And I'll do a thing and then I'll toss it to her and she'll help me clean it up to where it's marketable and we can get this sold. That's one of those ideas. Like one of the things at our table that we made, or that Asako made, and I was just like, wow, that is baller, was the G.I. Joe flak cannon. And she freaking rebuilt, she tore it apart, and she rebuilt and redesigned it an actual 1/12 scale. Because when we were doing these things, it's all like, we realized, no, G.I. Joe was more toyetic. It wasn't true 1/12 scale. I mean, 1/18, because for G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, all of those were 3.75 and 1/18. So when Asako was building the flat cannon, that was an actual 1/12 scale. That's why that thing is a monster beast, massive piece. It's a thing of beauty, and it is gorgeous. So that's all
why
her.
I came to your booth, by the way, and it had an AIM guy on it. Yes.
Yeah. And it's because of her that it's my fault that she had an AIM figure instead of a Cobra figure or G.I. Joe figure.
No, AIM was better. I'm a Marvel nerd. AIM was better.
It worked out. It all worked out.
Because again, I know my toys, but it was because we were using these for scale. And I know other nerds were all like, why is there an AIM? Like one of my...
Yeah, we've gotten some of those. We're like, why are you using that character with that one? And we're like, well, why not?
We needed it for scale. We needed it for scale. That's it. We just need it for scale. So
yeah, but I mean, amongst that, like for example, Paul would bring me an idea of like the flak weapon, and from there, instead of just saying, okay, let's just make something that a toy can sit on. At that point, I would actually kind of dig into my toy background, I guess, and then that's why I was just like, well, let's make sure it pivots, the piston goes back and forth, we can make the chair move in and out, like take it beyond what it is. And then I would actually reiterate that to Paul as well. And then he'll kind of let me know, am I also going too crazy with the ideas that I would love to happen because I'm overly detailed, which I guess, which makes me the technical artist as well at the same time, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand, you know, so then he'll kind of pull me back and give me the reality of it all. And that's kind of our back and forth. I'm just kind of trying to just bring it back to that, how it is that we work together. But the flak weapon is like a good example of that. And he'll also rein me in because I have a weird background with anime as well, being Japanese, I think. And I try to bring that also into everything that I do, where Paul needs to be like, hey, no, let's just stick with this because it works with, you know, these people, and we can save this idea for something else eventually. So that's kind of how we work with everything, if that kind of clarifies it a little bit more.
I love how you guys are working and still just being children, because you have this, and I can relate, you have a corporate job that makes you corporate, and then I got to go have my fun. And this is the fun of what you're doing. Space that you're having fun. There's still challenges and things that I don't want to say negative, but it's the, you know, you're still having fun because of your stuff, but you still run into challenges or creative tension, or, you know, the unmotivated, today, just forget it. Like, and when you're teaming with somebody, that brings a whole nother dynamic to it. So I'm curious how you work through this. Let's just call it whatever your negative is, or the monster in the back of your head yelling at you, how you guys work through that.
I call him out. Just being honest, I do. I do refrain a little bit. I do, like, because I understand we all have lives, we all have jobs. We get butt tired sometimes, and I get it. There's days that you don't want to do, and I'm in the same boat. But I think we've known each other long enough, fought as friends, we've worked together, that I realize, you know what? Sometimes I just need to put my foot down and be like, yo, I've been waiting forever. Come on, man. That's how honest to how we get through the hard times when it comes to working together. I'm sure I've annoyed Paul endlessly with me badgering him as well on the flip side. So, I mean, on the
Not necessarily, just for the
okay.
sole fact I'm me. I'm easily distracted. So if anybody is telling me to do a thing, I'm just generally going to assume it's because I wasn't doing the thing that I needed to do. That's what I genuinely regularly assume. So when Asako is all like, hey, did these things happen? And I'm all like, oh, wait, I got to go back and do those things. So it's normally because I probably haven't. Again, I'm adult, like, whatchamacallit, I've been actually psychologically, tested for adult ADD. Thank you very much. So if other people tell me I haven't done a thing, I totally believe them because I'm all like, oh no, I totally spaced. So it does not bother me when she does this again, because you know that you're like, oh no, I totally have adult ADD and clinically proven adult ADD. So
and embrace it and run with it and use it.
exactly. And hence why she needs to pull me in and be all like, hey, did that come in? Did these things has this thing happened yet? Excuse me? And she'll do it very politely because, inscrutable Asian that we're just like, I'm being polite before I call you bad words. So
Essentially, yes.
I live that every day. Yes.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, how we kind of get through it all. I mean, it works. It's messy. It's based on years of knowing each other, I think. It wouldn't work if we just met each other yesterday. That's the beauty of, I guess, our partnership, so to speak.
I'd agree with that. I mean, it's helps that our kids play together, that sort of thing. So that sort of deal. It helps.
We're stuck together no matter what. We're stuck. Our
kids are very close they're close friends, and they were born around the same time, so they're very close to each other. So that sort of deal. But yeah,
That's awesome. And I think that like it's very clear how comfortable the two of you are with one another. And I know a lot of people can sometimes be good friends or be good collaborators, and that's not always necessarily a friend and a collaborator. What was
Hmm.
it about the two of you? I'd love to hear from each of you how you kind of decided that you're like, oh, this would be a good, beyond being a good friend, beyond being a peer, this would be a good collaborator to make a new project together.
That's an interesting question, just because, yeah, I mean, both of us have a lot of friends from school and from work that we don't necessarily collaborate with. Again, I'm gonna say with Asako, it's like for us, it's the indiscriminate amount of years. She doesn't want to say the amount of years that we've been friends because that reveals our age. And it's that there's a lot of trust that's built up versus anybody. There's very few, even other friends that I've had this long friendship with, there are very few people that I would want to collaborate with because someone will ultimately normally over like overpower and tip over the ship. They're going to want to take full control versus our give and take. Our give and take is like, you know, it's very much more a partnership versus I'm leading, I'm steering this ship. And because I couldn't do that without someone else, because again, I'm just going to make a thing and it'll just languish on my hard drive till someone's all like, hey, we could do something with that. We can make something, we can have fun with this thing. Versus, again, I just made this thing. Let me post it on my Deviant or on my Instagram, and I'll forget about it because it's I can't show it to anybody for any other purpose than, oh, I just made a thing. And I need her to be able to be all like, hey, that thing was neat. We should do a thing with it. There you go. So that's on my personal opinion. Asako.
I mean, I guess for me, like I said, same with Paul, going to design school, you obviously know a plethora of people that you can work with. But I feel for me, it's the honesty that I can give him and that he can give me. Because even with friends, sometimes I think as artists, we're afraid to kind of step on people's egos or try to be critical about something. Some people take it well, some people don't. And with Paul, it's always been, we understand we're not coming at each other to hurt each other or make each other feel bad, at least from my perspective. And it's just trying to, I feel like, especially with Paul, it's also someone I want to lift up with me as I go on my journey. He's always been there as a friend, as a designer, and I wouldn't be here where I would be just as much as actually on this podcast, not to pivot away from Paul, but I mean, Chris knows Richie, and I was mentioning having friends like that who help you, prop you up, who want to work with you is the type of people you want to work with rather than just, oh, I think you're skillful, so that's why I need you, if that kind of makes sense in any way.
Wow, that makes the most freaking sense ever in the world. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation now because yes, it's the lift you up, it's the people who carry you instead of the person who's just trying to bring themselves up, right? That's what makes a better creative collaboration, right? And you can go back in history and look at all Bob Kane. Bob Kane is the guy who created Batman. You do realize he never drew Batman. Anyone listening, not believing me or Paul, go look at the history. Yeah. Bob Kane's the biggest asshole in the whole industry ever. Where you two are working together and you're collaborating together and you're playing together and you're pushing each other, negative, positive, and lifting each other up. And Asako's point, like, that's how I met her. Like, oh my God, you AIM toy. Oh my God, this gun is cool. And she was like, hi. I'm like, how'd you get here? She was like, him. He told me I really should have a booth. I can't make up this story if I try. And you have these people that keep pushing you, and now you're part of my family because I was like, oh my God, your stuff is cool. I gotta get you on the show. The world needs to hear what you're doing because it's so inspiring. You've done this whole corporate thing, and now you're trying to play in this new space, and you got Paul and people like Richie bringing you guys along. Is there a goal for what you're doing? Is it just to do stuff? Is it to share stuff with the world? What's the goal with you guys coming together and building stuff?
I'll go first. For me, there is a huge component of I just want to build cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie. There is that huge part. I love it. And I'd like to get back to toys. I really would. I've always loved it and this is a great thing. But I mean, besides that, like I like to build critical builds in the sense of like providing people who have that don't have the access to create to be able to get their ideas out. A lot of places are like, I want to make something, but everyone is just more like money, money, money. I need you to make 1,000 orders of something. Why can't it be a few that people can afford? And besides that, it's like I was saying earlier, the whole 3D printing space is getting bigger. So I do want to be able to provide people STLs, digital files that they can print themselves too. It's just ideas endless right now. Cool things can come out left and right. And why limit yourself? Why not just go for it? I know it sounds very broad and vague, but that's what it comes down to. Cool things. I think Paul agrees.
Oh no, that and my dream of not having a corporate gig. That's ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
Like the ultimate dream is to just tour different like conventions with different product, different things, and just be all like, this is what I'm doing now. I am not a corporate bitch. I'm not suckling at the teat. I am not there. I am doing what I would like to do and I get to live. And I think that's what any creative wants, is to just live on their terms and make the work that they want to create and share it with everyone. I want to have things that nobody else is doing. I mean, I want an Eagle 5 like Hot Wheels 164 car. And yes, I've modeled the Eagle 5 from Spaceballs. And yes, I'm trying slowly to figure out how to make a Hot Wheels Eagle 5 Winnebago. Yes, this is something that we are genuinely trying to do.
Coming up. That is actually coming up. We are working on it.
This is something because for all of us who have bought a Mach 5 from China, and you're like, this is very plasticky. I'm all like, but I just spent like $10 from like AliExpress, and I'm okay with that because I still have my Mach 5. And I didn't spend the money that the Mattel one would cost, which we all know. I'm just saying, someone out there also wants a Eagle 5 Spaceballs Winnebago. And I know these things. So that's why I'm all like, no, I want that. And so I want to make these things. And I'd like to be able to see it like at the other side of the country and know like, oh, somehow, some way, this got there. This got to like Florida. And I don't know how, but that's amazing. This weird thing that I wanted to make past hands, it's somehow made like other sides of the world. Those are really neat ideas. Things that you get from like working corporate, I will say, is you know that your work has been seen by millions. You know that people have literally walked in the shoes you've designed. The Sako's designed. My kids have at least one pair of her, maybe Sophia the First, I think.
Yeah, if you've bought anything at Target for women's, men's, C9, children's license, it's all something I've probably touched somewhere along the line.
So, and again, this is something that you know in your soul. And this is something that any artist, every artist, there's an ego that goes with it that just says, hey, I just want to know that other people have either seen or been touched something I worked on and it mattered, as dumb as that is. Because again, I work on Robot Chicken. I love dumb. I loved the dumbest sketches. I was proud of how dumb these things are. And every time that somebody reviews Food Fight, and there are a lot of videos on Food Fight, please look them up. They are horrible. They are utterly horrible because everybody is all like, who decided to make this? I didn't. I was getting paid. But yeah, regardless of that, I get to say, yeah, no, I was on that project. I was the guy that censored Asuma-san's Naruto Asuma. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm the guy that censored his cigarette and I gave him a toothpick. See, not just the lollipop. Not just the lollipop, sir. But yeah, I gave him a toothpick. So there. And I know that people saw that. It's still like, people hate me, but I'm all like, were you paying my bills? Were you paying my student tuition? No. So screw everybody who's going to hate on me for doing that.
So I want to piggyback actually on that with that tension I'm hearing, Paul, between kind of corporate work and critical builds. Both of you have worked on very high profile, people are wearing shoes that Asako has worked on. Everyone has watched Naruto and seen the toothpick or Sanji's lollipop on One Piece. And yet, though, I'm hearing that there's not that creative freedom of making what you want to make. So can you tell
Oh
me a little
no,
bit
God
more
no.
about how?
There's no
Yeah.
freedom in that because you're a pair of hands. You are a skilled technician as either as a modeler, as a compositor, as a designer. You are not making what you want to make. You are given a textile sheet to approve and you're given a pattern to follow. For her, she's given a pattern to follow. For me, I'm given specific things. The 2-3 seconds I get to be creative are few and far between. There was a scene where Sakura was having to pull out a sword from Sasuke, and we had to redo her entire energy thing for healing like Sasuke as the sword's being pulled out. And I was all like, I did this little particle like explosion-y thing of color glows. I made the glows. I'm special today. And that's the level of creativity you get to feel on a corporate gig. You're all like, I made the glowy thing. That's it. And I say that very honestly. And I'm saying this as a VFX guy, and I'm all like, I like making the glowy thing, but when it's 2 seconds on a 22-minute episode, no one's going to remember it other than you and other weirdos like you. And for this, when you get to actually make stuff, that matters so much more because you know it's you and you're sharing your art with the world. And that's the most vulnerable and honest thing I think any of us can share with anyone is our art.
I mean, personally for me, I would probably say something like footwear when you're working in mass retail, which is probably most designers' dreams to be like, hey, I made something that thousands of people are wearing. And from the outside, I think that sounds fabulous. But in reality, I mean, if I were to really bring it down to the nitty-gritty of what it is I'm ending up working with salespeople, with buyers. It has nothing to do with, hey, this is what I learned in school. This is what is supposed to resonate with people. That gets shrunken down to the minimum in its numbers. And for me, that's what kind of killed it for me, slash, I really wanted to make the jump. Because when I did first started working as a designer, I did work for a very small company doing the video game controllers. And since it was so small, a lot of the ideas were still like very creative, and I got that freedom. And I think you can only really find that in smaller businesses because taking risks is what you need to do to get yourself out there. But then as you keep working more corporate and more bigger, you just realize, no, it's whatever is safe sells. And it's just kind of gets gross and disgusting afterwards. I mean, maybe that's like a bad thing to say because they're helping me pay my bills. That restriction is what definitely made me go, no, I'm kind of done in a way with that. And I need to let some of that creativity that I found at the very beginning of my career and while I was in school to come out in critical builds, at least for me.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm old. I'm older than you guys, so I get to say that. Totally relate to it's corporate and you're safe. I had the same thing. I was on a Hunchback of Notre Dame for Disney. Oh my God, Bill's eye color is the wrong color. Click. Thanks. I can do more than click. I can do more than change that eye color. No, go sit in your corner. Put your handcuffs back on, right?
Oh, definitely.
As a real creative person, you can't sustain that in a corporate environment, right? And I've worked fashion too. That's worse.
No.
1 year, I worked in fashion for 1 year. I got one of my best friends out of there. She still hangs around. She's still one of my best friends. But yeah. And I don't think people realize when they're young starting out, because our society, our culture tells us, okay, you're done with school, go get the job. I've worked with so many kids that I've hired, and I'm like, you have a degree in computer program and you draw Michelangelo. Why? Well, my parents says I wouldn't get a job. That wasn't the safe job. Paul's laughing, right?
Oh, we're all there. I mean, if you're Asian or specifically Filipino, you're going to be told, why don't you go into nursing? I mean, my mother, my sister, my wife, they're all nurses. The lulls in my career, my mom's all like, why don't you go nursing? Why don't you go do that? I'm all like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right? Okay. So I grew up Italian old school, off the boat family. I married a Japanese woman, so I still see, and she's first generation, right? You see it. It's like part of the culture. Do you want to be that? Look at the bum in the street. You're going to be that, right? But you have this thing in you can't fight that makes you do it, which is why I love that you guys have, done the corporate. Now you're doing this critical build to kind of fulfill that, right? Now we're getting to my real question. What advice would you give to the young people or people starting out? Because you do have to pay bills and everything else, but, or even to your younger self to be able to express this creativity and use this creativity. Your thoughts on it?
I guess there's two parts to it for me. One is reality check. Not everyone can be the concept designer. When you first start working in it, you don't position yourself to dream. I mean, this sounds horrible saying it this way, but to dream too big that it burns you out. If that kind of makes sense. Understand that working at a company is totally different from let me sit down and do whatever the heck I want to do. And understand that going into corporate culture and understanding, are you okay doing that as your job? And finding that balance to, if you do have a dream, to continue to be more creative, to save that energy and have that space to continuously work on your craft, and don't let corporate culture crush you. Because I've had that moment where all the feedback from sales and buyers made me actually doubt my own skills and what I could do, because it just wasn't about numbers. So it's just understand that there are those two different worlds that exist in design. One in that corporate world where it's not just about creativity, and you have to understand what your strengths are to survive in that, and saving that energy for that creativity, which I didn't do. So I feel like I am kind of chasing it at this age now, because I was like, okay, well, video games work for me because I dream it, I breathe it. But when I went into footwear to excel at it, I felt that I had to put all my passion of creativity just into that, and that took me away from what I really loved, and that's what really burned me out. So it's like for the younger generations, just be aware of it. I mean, I'm not sure if that's actually necessarily helpful per se, but that's like the best advice I can give. And of course, never give up on what you really love, because eventually you can find the time to do what you want to do, and don't be afraid of it, because I hid from it for a very, very long time. So I'm a good example of that.
I mean, for me, for what I'd say, again, I'm going to be very cliche and be all like, longest journey begins with a single step, which this all is. I mean, we're at the beginning of this new part of our careers where we're trying something very new to us. But from the response thus far, it's like, oh, neat. It's nice to know that all of my ideas were not insane, and I'm not just a crazy person who just wants to make toys just for me and be alone in a toy cave, which is possible, but still hugely possible. But the thing would remain, you have it in you and you can keep going, because that's the thing that keeps you going through the long, hard night. And we've all had the long, hard night. If you're creative in any sort, you've had the long, hard night in the face of reality where everybody's all like, I don't know, maybe go get a nursing degree. And again, that's something I've heard my entire life. Any Filipino listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. So for that, and for those that are young, just try. You don't know what you've got until you go out there and get punched in the face. You don't know who you are until you get punched. You don't know if you can take the punch. You got to find out. And if you've got it only inside and you're not going to share it, well, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help your mental state, and it doesn't help the world that could be theoretically inspired by the work you made. And that's just it. You just have to go out and try to see if your ideas work in the marketplace. Go get punched in the face and realize, oh, that concept, this design totally didn't work because we did not sell a single one. Nobody liked this idea. Okay, back to the drawing board. But without it, I could take on Conor McGregor in my head, but I can't in reality take him on, because I would have to know I have to go out and I have to get into a fight. I have to go out and put my art into the world. Otherwise, I'm just going to remain, I'm really good, but only I know it. And maybe my sister thinks I'm special, and maybe my brother does. But if no one actually sees your work, if no one goes out and looks at it, so if it's in you and you need that crazy person level of adulation and accolade of, I worked on that, someone else saw it, millions of people saw this. That's what it's there for. This is why you make the art, because otherwise we're all nuts, and that's all we can like, we're all just insane. That's it. We all make art and share it because we think it's something other people want to see. That's what you hold on to if you're an artist. If you're starting out, you hold on to, I have a voice, I need to share it, and this is our medium.
Yeah, don't hide it. Yeah. Only regrets if you hide it, I think, at least.
Exactly.
So well said. I think it's crucially important to go out and share your work and not get discouraged. And I'd love to, as someone else who has definitely, had that thing of like, oh, I've launched this thing and no one buys it, or I have a new thing and no one cares. How do the two of you deal with that? How do you get back up after the punches in the face?
I will say half off sale. We made too much of this and we are sitting on product, so it's going to be a half off on sale. So that's just one, because if you've been doing it, it's just one. That there's going to be others. There's other shots at the brass ring. If you're in the maker creator space, this isn't your first run on the merry-go-round. You're like, I know that we're going to lose a couple times, and I know that at certain conventions these items will not sell. At certain conventions these things will sell, and like, it depends on the audiences, and you learn this only through doing the thing of being at the conventions and going and meeting the people, where each place has its own vibe. Like, anime ALA is very different from AX, as much as Designer Con is very different from like CTNX. For like, if we're talking like apples and apples kinds of like purely industry level designers. But yeah, the vibe is very different at CTNX or Lightbox versus Designer Con. That's what it is, and you just got to go and try the next convention or the next place with a new design and the new work. Because otherwise, again, what do you do? Why did you get up? Why did you do any of it in the first place?
For me personally, I think inside of me, as long as I know what I liked, what I designed was good for me, that helps a lot. I can't always rely on other people to prop me up. Obviously, if one person even comes up to talk to me while I'm at a con, of any con, and tells me that looks amazing, that is sometimes is all I need to hear, to know that at least one person finds something that I've done interesting. And you never know. It's just because I always notice, even with like Instagram, like the oddest thing can be that one thing that really pushes you up to stardom or recognition, and suddenly everyone loves what you do. So it doesn't necessarily mean that one thing that you just happen to do once, that you showed to a group of people and no one responded, doesn't mean that that's the end. And I think that's what also keeps me kind of going, knowing that somewhere along the line I will find the group of people that will really appreciate what it is, and then it'll go from there. And I'd like to believe that's what keeps me going.
Bravo. Because yes, it's going to sound so rude when I say that. It's not my job, so I don't need to. There's people out there that need to make money. So when someone just comes over and goes, oh my God, that's the coolest, I'm like, yes. Like, you don't need to buy like it, right? Which is what creative people need, right? And it's the creative tension and you get from each other. So I'm going to put you both on the spot, and you're going to hate me after this. But what's the one thing that about each other that either impresses you or puts you in awe of the other one, or that is your creative inspiration?
Very straightforward for me. For Asako, it's technical skill set. It's just, I am not a technical person. I get freaked out when things have to touch each other and bend, and I'm all like, this is going to totally mess up in the print, isn't it? It's just pure technical skill set. And I would dare say, like when we were in college, that also impressed me then. It was one of those things. It's just pure understanding of mechanics and something I genuinely do not have that at all. I am like,
Oh, thank you.
I'm a concept dude where I'm all like, this would be cool. That would be neat. Oh yeah, this other thing is really cool. But when it gets to the nitty gritty and having to figure it out, I need other people. And that's why I have her, because I'm not that.
Fair
But
enough. I mean, I guess for me it comes down to just kind of like how he said he's the concept guy, he's the idea guy, and me being more technical, I do get into my head and stuck on certain things and I can't move forward. And for me, the amount of insane ideas he comes up with, some of them are totally wacky where I'm like, no, we cannot do that. But amongst all of that, there are ideas that I would have never come up with, and it's something that I do rely on him to help me with that. Not to say that I don't have any of my own, but I don't know if it's the way his mind works personally. It's definitely more free flowing, more open, and he comes up with ideas that I would probably have never come up with. Or it's whatever I do is so stiff that it might not be as cool as I thought it would be, which does happen.
I'm gonna go with its neurodivergence. I'm all like that's what it is. It's pure neurodivergence. It's all like you're a weirdo, you were classified a weirdo, you're a weirdo. So I'm all like that's where all of that comes from. So
And it works. It oddly works between us. So
oh yeah.
Every pair needs one weirdo.
Yes.
So don't worry about
Definitely.
it. Paul and Asako, this has been super awesome. Where is the best place for people to find more about you and Critical Builds?
Well, right now we do have an Instagram under the name Critical Builds with a Z. We are actually working on a website right now as well, so we can start putting up our STL files or anything we've done in 3D that people want to buy. And amongst that, I do also have my personal, which is a Sal's Art Instagram account, which is just more drawings and some stuff that I do work on. Holly?
Most of my art has NDA. Yay! NDA. So I'm on Instagram I only have like 6 pictures up there for Pixel Pusher Paul. So there's only like 6 pictures, and I'm just like everything else, it's all like NDA, you can't share. No share for you.
Yeah, but majority will be on Critical
Yeah.
Builds in terms of our own creative endeavors, and anything that passes that NDA level of we can share it with the world, just so you can see some cool things that we can actually do.
Yay!
Okay. Your final thoughts, last words, and they can be anything and everything.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's good. That's a good one.
That works. I got nothing. Good luck. Don't give up. Honestly, just don't give up. Keep going.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Origins, a Creative Journey, a Designer Con podcast. Please follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're streaming this on, and check us out on Instagram at Origins, a Creative Journey. And if you have any suggestions or questions or comments, email us at deconpodcast@gmail.com. And make sure to get your tickets and hotel deals now for DesignerCon's 20th anniversary celebration in Las Vegas, Nevada, November 14th through 16th, 2025. I hope to see you there, but in the meantime, go make some art.